it's critically important. The role of entrepreneurship is important in building economies, in building a free market economy. As Eastern Europe and Central and Eastern Europe recover from this financial crisis, they need to generate jobs. And no part of an economy generates jobs more effectively and efficiently than the entrepreneurial sector and small business. So to the extent that we can help seed entrepreneurs, help create an environment for entrepreneurial activity, for allowing people to start businesses and employ people, then you create jobs that are long-lasting jobs, that are strong jobs in communities, and help Eastern Europe and Central Europe recover from this economic crisis. It's a region that offers tremendous opportunity. If you look at the relative growth rate opportunity in different parts of the world today, countries like Central and Eastern Europe offer opportunity for greater growth, for stronger entrepreneurial activity than many of the more established, mature economies in Western Europe. So, for example, here in Austria, when I talk to the local business community, the Austrian business community and the Austrian banks, they see Central and Eastern Europe as a tremendous opportunity marketplace. And so they believe, and we believe in the United States, that Eastern Europe can return to the kind of growth rates we've seen in the past as its economy recovers, but only if it creates an environment to foster entrepreneurship. I think it's very important. If you think about it, businesses, local businesses, are often tied to their communities. They often feel a part of their communities. So to the extent that you foster small business, foster entrepreneurial activity, people come from that community, they're employed, and then as the business grows and prospers, it often gives back in that community. You see in the United States constantly, when you go to the local art events or sporting events, the sponsors are often local businesses. Why is this? It's because people want to be perceived well in the community where they employ from. It makes your employees feel good about the work that you're doing beyond the sphere of your business. So it's very important for communities to foster entrepreneurship. It's very important for businesses to give back to the communities that they employ from, because this is good for morale, it's good for your human capital development, good for human resource development. It attracts people to work for your company when they see you giving back. So it's very important for businesses, beyond just the jobs that they create in that community. It's very important for government to play a role. You know, in the U.S., we've fostered entrepreneurship. We have created an environment where people can go out and start a business. It's not too difficult. And this allows for much more entrepreneurial and economic growth. We have that culture in our country, and it's part of our DNA. We believe that in Central and Eastern Europe, the same opportunity exists, but only if government learns how to balance the need to regulate economic behavior without overdoing it. For example, if you make it too difficult to start a business, if there's too much paperwork involved and too much regulation involved, who's going to go out and make that effort? It's going to be hard for people. If you create high tariff barriers to economic trade, this hinders economic growth. So government plays a role in making sure that you have enough freedom to start a business, to hire people without the fear that you'll never be able to lay them off. It's important to have a social service network to support people when they are laid off, but it's also important to allow the business to grow, and then when they need to retract so that they stay healthy and can grow again when an economy recovers and when their business recovers. So government plays a critical role in creating an environment that fosters this kind of entrepreneurial activity and growth. You know, often the weaker segments of society need help in learning how to become successful and productive adults. In my case, I used to be very involved with a group called the Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater Washington. We went into the poorest neighborhoods of Washington, the poorest communities in our urban area, where often the alternative to the clubs were joining a gang. And we teach kids. We take kids after school and provide them with an environment that is safe to do their homework, help them with their schooling, encourage them to stay in school, and give them the skills to become successful, productive adults and go to college someday. Now, that enables them to then give back. And if they become successful adults, they give back to their communities and create jobs and create businesses and become the kind of people who give back through the taxes that they pay, if nothing else. Now, everyone can do this, and every successful business can give back to its community. This is just one example that I learned in my career, but throughout Central and Eastern Europe, throughout all of the world, indeed, organizations like this are helping people get up on their feet and pull themselves up and become successful and productive. And we have to always learn to foster these kinds of organizations. Entrepreneurship is critical to economic growth. And that's why this week we're celebrating Global Entrepreneurship Week. The Kauffman Foundation has done a fabulous job in helping to create an environment for entrepreneurship and helping to foster that environment. And we in the United States, being big believers in entrepreneurship, are pleased to celebrate global entrepreneurship with the Kauffman Foundation, and indeed here in Vienna today with the BCIU. This kind of work is critically important if we're going to build a strong economy.